The life sim genre is an absolute shit show right now. We have the zombified cash cow that is The Sims 4, which is 11 years old, riddled with bugs, costs $1,300, and has almost 100 DLC. And then there's Inzoi, which I like to call the gilf of the life sim genre. She is a beautiful old lady, but como se dice, she's boring, and somehow as conservative as someone born in the 1940s. Okay. Today I'm going to give you a rundown of just how disastrous things are right now, and discuss whether there's any hope left for the life sim genre. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Instant Gaming. I have a confession. Like most of the world, I am a GTA fanboy. And lately, I've been revisiting some of the older games from my childhood like GTA Vice City and Red Dead Redemption. Luckily, Instant Gaming has a large selection of Rockstar games for both PC and console, and they're available at a steep discount. So head over to Instant Gaming using the link in the description and peruse their expansive library of games. Stop overpaying and start saving with incredible discounts at Instant Gaming. Thank you to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Just weeks ago, The Sims 4 released its 96th, 97th, and 98th DLC, and with 2 more expansions expected to come later this year, The Sims 4 is well on its way to reaching 100 paid DLC. Am I the only one who thinks this is insane? I expect greed and complacency from EA, but at what point is the community going to acknowledge that this is exploitative as fuck? Why are all the big Sims 4 creators okay with marketing 100 DLC for EA? Do you not have a moral conscience? Are you gonna keep doing this for the next 10 years? I feel like this game is stuck in a loop of hype and disappointment, but that's all part of EA's plan. Recently, their CFO acknowledged that the company is not all that interested in making new games.
A more focused slate, anchored around massive online communities and select blockbuster storytelling investments. Live service is simply far more important to them.
They're more interested in doubling down on what they've been doing and what has worked for them historically, which is milking their existing IP for all it's worth, which is why the end goal is not 100 DLC, it's hundreds. And I want to contrast the egregious over-monetization of The Sims 4 to Paralives, which just recently doubled down on its commitment to never having paid DLC. Recently on Patreon, this indie company reaffirmed their commitment they made last year to never release paid DLC and only provide new content via free updates to players. They cited games like Minecraft, Stardew Valley, and No Man's Sky as examples of games that have successfully followed this no DLC model. I know, leave it to an indie game to actually care about players. But Paralives might be the only beacon of hope within the life sim genre, cause Sims competitor Inzoi is... Where the hell is Inzoi?
Man, where's Leah?
Where's Leah?
My girl!
Before Inzoi was released, people were hyping the fuck out of this game. Krafton went on this massive marketing campaign. They probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars advertising Inzoi, and the game sold 1 million copies in its first week. But now the game is sitting at number 426 on Steam's active player chart. To be honest, I don't think releasing the game in early access was a smart idea. And in addition, I think all the marketing they did was kinda to the game's detriment because it brought all these players to a game that wasn't even finished. So yeah, I think Inzoi was way overhyped. Before the game was even released, people online were calling it the Sims killer and comparing it to GTA. They kinda set this game up for failure.
But you could never, honey, never.
All this aside, I kinda have a fear that Krafton and Inzoi developers are just gonna lean into what the game does well, which is making cute characters and designing millennial gray houses and looking pretty, and that they're gonna focus less and less on what the game does poorly, which is the actual gameplay. Honestly, I'm starting to question the direction this game is taking. It seems like their priorities are on adding more cosmetics to the game, improving the look, adding more worlds to the game. Apparently there's a new city coming out soon, when they really need to focus on making the gameplay enjoyable and complex and replayable. Gameplay is the heart of any simulation experience. If you don't get that right and have a solid gameplay loop, you don't have a game. You just have pretty graphics. I know I said this before and some of you got very upset and called me a stupid no-life underfuck twink, but there's a reason no one's playing Inzoi, and it's because it is boring. Fixing that should be their #1 priority. I've seen people praising the Inzoi team and the lead producer, Keijun Oppa, I think they call him, for listening to players and considering their feedback. But are they really? Because there's already this strange dichotomy with Inzoi where on one hand we have this very kid-friendly sanitized game, and on the other hand hand, we have a fan base that is seemingly desperate for a mature life sim experience. And I don't mean the people who keep asking for 18 plus mods, I'm talking about players like myself, who are turned off by how childish The Sims 4 is and were hoping that Inzoi would give us some of the grit and maturity that older Sims games had. But no, so far they've decided to make a dollhouse simulator for 13-year-olds. And for some reason, the developers have also decided to be weirdly conservative. For example, why in the hell do you have to be married in order to have a baby? And why do only straight NPCs spawn in the game? What in the blessed be the fruit is going on here? And make no mistake, they coded the game like this. And I pray that they're not so dumb that they refuse to fix these issues, because so far, they've released 7 hotfixes, and their priority in those hotfixes has been fixing street food. Okay, so where do we go from here? In a video last year, I said that I believe indie games are the future of the life sim genre. From what I know, Paralive still plans to come out in early access this year, but what if I told you there was another life simulation game that is actually really good? The Sims 4 dead. Inzoi flopped to the window, to the life sim throne. 2 Pixelia is a newly released life simulation game. It's available right now on Steam for like $15, and the TLDR is, I kinda love it. I don't know the best way to say this, but I'm kinda sick of the superficiality of modern simulation games. You know what I mean? The games that have a shiny, cute, aesthetic exterior, but when you dig deeper, they're devoid of any substance. For example, we have the bigwigs of the life sim genre, The Sims 4 and Inzoi. These games are great at letting you create aesthetic characters and build millennial gray houses or whatever, but they really flop when it comes to detailed and complex gameplay. In other words, they're pretty on the surface but got no depth. Believe me, I know all about that. And 2 Pixelia is the opposite. Visually, I mean, it's a pixel game, bro. The character creator is limited. I probably spent 5 minutes making Lil Malcolm here. But let me tell you some of the things you can do in this game when it comes to actual gameplay. You can start a business, get hit by cars, invest in stocks, become a supermodel, get a credit card, attend university, start fights and end up in jail. You can perform heists that involve going undercover as a waiter and drugging a security guard. You can run for president or vote in actual presidential elections. You can get married to your next door neighbor and accidentally blow all your money playing blackjack at the casino and then get divorced and then choose to leave the big city and settle in the countryside where you live a simple life with cows and shit. That's just scratching the surface. All in all, I have to say, at $15, I think 2 Pixelia is a steal. To give you a comparison, I've already logged 4 times more hours in 2 Pixelia than I have in Inzoi, which I paid $40 for. That's all you need to know right there. I was watching another guy stream 2 Pixelia and something he said really stood out to me.
This game is already substantially more fun to me than Inzoi was when I first played it. This, I see the vision. I'm like, this is really like a solid entry in the life sim category, which is desperate for content.
Needless to say, I fully agree. The life sim genre is in desperate need of games just like this one. Games that push the limits and do new and exciting things in ways we haven't seen before with life sim games. So 2 Pixelia deserves a seat at the table, and something tells me there's more than enough room.